Welcome to a new episode of the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory. Today with me we have BenGingi. He's the owner of YASSS and also a baker, a chef, a content creator. If you want to learn how content creators and influencers make money, how the influencer marketing and creator economy works, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Enjoy the show. Hey BenGingi, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Amazing day. The weather is getting absolutely beautiful here in New York after a very long cold season. So it just, flowers are blossoming right now.
I know.
And it's the most beautiful period ever.
Finally, I would add, right? It has not been the best, the best, I would say, past few months in New York City. So absolutely, I'm with you with that on that. And,
Yes.
today I'm really excited to do this episode because it combines together two things that I care the most. That is the creator economy and food, with food as a priority, being Italian.
Of course.
And so, I've been following you for quite a good time now. When I started seeing one of your first videos out there with one of your recipes, I was like, okay, quite interesting. And then I started checking on your bio, and I saw that you studied in Italy in Brass. I was like, we have to do an episode, with this guy. And so, why don't you tell us a bit more again about yourself? Why, about your passion, for food and cooking, and then how did you combine that with creating content? So tell us a bit more about your story.
Of course, I will try to wrap it as a short story as I can, basically like putting all my life on the table. But starting with, I actually connecting to you as an Italian. I grew up in Italy until I was 4 years old. My parents studied medicine in Milano. So I grew up there. The first language I spoke in my life was Italian, not Hebrew, no English, nothing, just Italian. Came back to Israel, forgot all the language because the kids laughed at me in the kindergarten. Long story short, I was a very picky eater boy because I ate only Parmigiano Reggiano when I was in Italy. Came back to Israel. I told my teacher in the kindergarten, I want Parmigiano Reggiano. She was like, shut the fuck up. Sorry for my French. Get this tomato and eat it. It was a rotten tomato and I got traumatized for most of my life. I didn't eat anything new, no veggies, no fruits, anything.
Wow.
After my military service, I served for 3 years in the army. I finished and I went on my big trip. Israel is usually after the army service are going to travel around the world. And I traveled to upstate New York to work in a dairy farm to save some money, and then travel to the east, Asia, and travel there to India and Thailand and stuff. And during my travel there and I was exposing myself to different culture, different flavors. So I started to be very curious about food. And actually, at the age of 22, it was the first time that I was like, wow, food is fascinating, and got into it. By accident, I started to work in a restaurant as a waiter. Before my studies, electrical engineering in Tel Aviv University. I was moving to the city and getting used to the life there. Started to work as a waiter. And the chef there was looking at me. He was like, I see the passion in your eyes for the kitchen. Maybe you join us. And I was like, took a moment to let it sink. And then I was like, you know what? If I have a couple of months to work before I start my studies in the university, let's try to work in the best kitchen possible in the country. And I applied for back then the best restaurant in Israel, and they accepted me. Surprisingly, I didn't know how to hold a knife. After a couple of months, I was very good soldier. I was taking any piece of information they gave me and learn it by heart. And I just completely fell in love with food. And I decided that that's what I want to do in life. Working with food. Don't know what I want to do, but I want to be focused on food. And that was the moment I canceled my studies as electrical engineer in Tel Aviv University, and I kept working in kitchens, making my way up from a prep cook to be the chef of the restaurant I worked in, managing the staff, running their catering business, so taking control on many roles. After a couple of years, my both parents are doctors, and I'm the oldest, and they expected me to be either lawyer, engineer, doctor, whatever, stuff like this. I decided to, I felt the need to go and pursue an academic background. So I moved to Italy. I decided to go to study in the university, but something that I'm passionate about. And I found this gastronomy university super fascinating, running by Slow Food movement in Italy. Basically, it's not just for the people who listen to us. It's not a practical cooking school, so you don't learn how to cook. You learn like everything about food from like different angles, like science, agroecology, sociology, culture, everything, to kind of creating a broad language about what food is. Finished my studies during COVID, just at the beginning of COVID, and moved back to Israel from Italy, and started selling my bread for neighbors and friends, and it was a good success. It took off from like a couple of loaves a week to about 150 loaves a day. I collaborated with like a local bakery, and we started producing some incredible breads. And yeah, there was an opportunity to come here to the States. Like the skies were open for a while. I came here to meet my girlfriend that happened to be my wife and the mother of my child eventually. But yeah, we got married, and I applied for like to work here, and I couldn't work legally and do something like while I was waiting for my permit. And I started sharing my journey as a baker on social media. And surprisingly, gratefully, and happily enough, it took off from like really early on. And the rest is history. That's what I'm doing since then. That's my wrap of my story. I hope I didn't exaggerate with the time.
Amazing. No, I mean, it's, I loved a couple of things that you just said. One, it's about, that you travel the world to understand different cultures, because at the end of the day, food, it's a big part, right, of who we are, historically speaking. And also I like that, food is not just about cooking. It's about the, the materials that you have, about the type of like, fields, and then where the water that you use, and again, culturally speaking, also like what does it mean for a country, right? So I like that, and then all that, right? It's all about, again, slow food and what is around, right, the food, and not just the cooking, because cooking, yes, it's important, but without having the culture behind that, it's difficult to innovate sometimes, right? Also, so
exactly. Also very important, like, just to mention, to touch one thing that you said about like food as a culture. It's amazing. It's very important thing to mention here in America, because I feel that like taste and holistic approach to food not necessarily going hand by hand here in this country. And what I'm telling people, that like the most important thing to focus is about your approach and philosophy to food. That's what is the most important, because at the end of the day, you can eat delicious food outside every single day. It doesn't do well for your body, as well as like understanding what you eat, where it comes from, the values that you're like highlighting in your diet, and it's really reflecting on your health and your mental health and your surroundings. And
no, but absolutely, I know what I mean. A big difference between Europe and the US when it comes to food and the approach to food. And again, we said at the beginning, you combine together food and content creation. I'm really curious, because many people just see a video, watch a video online, maybe 30 seconds, and it's like, oh, nice, and they scroll down. What is behind a video, a typical video of yours? Can you go through that from the beginning, like from the process when you think it to when you shoot?
So I have to say that like, and we will touch about it as we go in the call, but content is evolving all the time. And things that like, when you ask, like if you ask me this question when I just started, basically I was putting myself in a mission. I started baking only sourdough breads, and then I diversify, like as I went on with the content, I started to diversify a little bit my repertoire of what I'm baking, and went on different direction, different types of bread. I rather calling myself not a baker, a dough man. I'm working with dough in any capacity. Everything flour and water together, I'm working with. So it's starting with doing research, culturally about this product, watching tons of videos to like gather like the kind of an idea of what is the process and the technique that is required, certain ingredients, sitting down, actually developing the formula, buying the ingredients, coming back, cooking, shooting, editing, writing the copy, like writing the caption for both of the social media, but also writing the whole text and all the recipe down for my website and for my newsletter, posting it. And something that is very important for me is also like being there and answering every single question that my community has about the recipe, either on my website and on the newsletter, but also on social media. So really being attentive to what people ask, because at the end of the day, unlike other people that creating content on social media, for me, the most important thing is that people will actually make what I'm working on, you know? It's like, obviously I'm trying to like add some personality and making my content entertaining, but at the end of the day, if they're not making the recipe, for me, it's a miss.
Hey, quick break. This podcast is hosted by the Influencer Marketing Factory. We are an influencer marketing agency that helps brands and companies engage with Gen Z and millennials on social media. We take care of influencer identification, storytelling, creativity, negotiation, contracting, campaign management, ROI analysis, in-depth reporting, content boosting, and much, much more. Are you interested in learning more? You can find us at theinfluencermarketingfactory.com, or you can Google the Influencer Marketing Factory.
I saw many TikTok videos of people like, joking on the fact that they save it and then they will never do it, right? There are many comments like, okay, let me save this video so I will never cook this, So exactly. I know what you mean about that, and let me also ask you this. When we quickly chat, when we met, you told me that you still record and do everything, like all the editing still on your phone. Is that right?
Yes. About editing, I hired an editor to edit my videos. So like I have another person in the team since we talk that he is doing that, just that I can dedicate a little bit more time to my baby, my newborn. But when it comes to like in general, because like let's talk, until recently I still was doing it on the phone. My approach to content is that people should work on their content in the easiest possible way for them to produce as much content as possible. Means, do I think that like phone camera is like the best option available? Absolutely not. I mean, questionable, but like obviously like quality wise, camera will do like 10 times better job. I don't know how to hold the camera. I didn't come to this world creating content as like I want to be professional in shooting. For me, it was like I'm sharing my professional background in cooking and baking. And for me, it was like I'm always with the phone. It's always available for me to like an easygoing, like there is no like entry barriers for me. Like, oh, I need to learn this stuff. Like, for example, it takes me time to get on YouTube because I have like this kind of an approach of like, obviously I need to be like so professional and have like the best gear possible and like know what I'm doing. And it's holding me from like starting to do. And with Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, it's like really like easygoing. Take your phone, shoot a couple of videos, edit it on your phone and dunk it there. It will be amazing, So I wouldn't recommend to everyone going necessarily on that. Some people are feeling more comfortable with the camera, go with the camera. You feel more comfortable with the phone, go with the phone. You feel good with the GoPro, do it with the GoPro. It doesn't matter. As long as it's easy for you, you will produce more. And like when it's come to content, quantity is most likely will be more important than quality.
Apart from the phone that you use, right, like on a daily basis, what are some of the other equipment you as a content creator that you have in the kitchen? Like what is really important when you shoot videos, like lights, anything else?
So I'm shooting with natural light, just because I live in a tiny New York City apartment, so I don't have like enough space to put more lighting. I wish I could, because otherwise I won't fight with the son who is like going to sleep earlier. So I have a tripod, one that I'm very happy with. I tried all kind of tripod. The one that I stick with is a boom stand that hold the phone, the best option for me. The phone, and I have a screen that I mirror the phone so I can see what I'm shooting because I'm shooting by myself. So yeah, best quality is with the back camera, not with the front one. And in order for me to see what I'm doing and how it's looking, the focus and everything, I have the screen that I actually see what I'm doing.
Perfect. So yeah, like, as you said, nothing, this is like the concept, right? Sometimes you don't need necessarily 1,000 different items, right? To make a good content, right? It's not necessarily because you have maybe a professional lighter is going to change it. It's more about, what you put in, right? The storytelling, your style, and so on. So I like that idea there.
Look, at the end of the day, there is no right and wrong in content. I see people that like, I think that my content look great. Let's say like in terms of lighting, I'm working with natural light. I have a great natural light in my room. So like, I don't really need the professional lighting, but at the same time, I see people that have awful lighting at home and not using any professional camera, like a shitty lighting from the kitchen, and they're getting millions of views. Like it doesn't translate necessarily the quality of the light, the quality of your computer, the quality of your camera to how it will perform. On the other hand, I see people that using like the most professional, expensive gear and getting zero engagement. That's what wild about like creating content. That like there is no right formula for it. It's amazing.
And you told me already that before. You have now a video editor helping you out. So I guess that you have some support right now. How is it like one day in your life now compared to 1 year ago?
Oh, I wouldn't say 1 year, but like 2 years ago, I was like all by myself. So everything we mentioned before, like doing the research myself, answering people myself, uploading everything myself, writing and checking and doing copy editing the videos, talking with brands to like bring brand partnerships, collaboration with other like different folks, or like doing everything by myself. It was one-man show. It was crazy. I worked like literally 25 hours a day. And it wasn't sustainable. It was great for the growth back in the day, but like, as things are getting like moving forward, things need to be like more systemized. So now I have a couple of people working for me. My wife is my partner in business, and she's helping me with all the copy edit. I have a couple of managers that helping me. I have a manager for my brand deals. I have a manager for a cookbook that I'm writing, editor for the videos, someone that doing copy for our newsletter. Yeah, I think we developed a legit team in the past 2 years.
So yeah, I can see that, right? After a while, you need to create something right around you. So if it's just you all the time, and might be very, sometimes you get into the burnout, right? As a content creator, I guess.
Exactly, but not just that. Like, also like for me, it was more about keep the creative aspect of my work active. When you're dealing with like, it's the same thing like you open a restaurant. Yes, you are a chef, you have amazing dishes, and you inspire people, and they eat your food, and they're like amazed, and you're like, okay, I have a concept, I'm opening a restaurant, and then you find yourself dealing with the dishwasher that didn't come today, hiring like the waiters and the cooks, paying the bills, then the municipality is giving you a fine, and like you find yourself doing everything but cooking. So like same thing with content. Until I brought like people on board, I was like doing everything. Content was like very, very little. Now I'm doing only creative and content, which is a blessing. It's a gift.
And because you're saying, that you wanted to focus still on, the content and on the creative side, how do you stay relevant? That every single day on TikTok, there is a new trend, a new way to do videos on YouTube. How do you stay relevant in your industry?
First of all, I'm taking a big breath and trying to remind myself that it's a long run and not a short run. Mm-hmm. It's very instant industry that like you really can judge and be influenced. And it's happened to me at the very beginning. I'm adjusting and I'm growing and I'm maturing as I'm going. But at the beginning, it's really influenced me every single video. This one didn't perform well. I felt terrible. This one performed amazing. I feel the happiest person in the world. And you cannot work like that. So first of all, I'm trying in the past year and the future to develop assets that are outside of social media, that are controlled by me as much as possible. Like on social media, you cannot control what's going on with your content. You put it out there and you hope that it will perform well. Either the algorithm picked you up, or like people were exposed, or they changed something in the policy, and it's not really depends on you. So I'm like trying to develop assets that are out of social media. If it's our newsletter, website, the cookbook that I'm writing, establishing myself in, I love to call it, in the real world. So that's one thing. Second, I hope that like this example will make sense. There are people that I'm talking about, content creators that are approaching to the mass population, trying to approach everybody, which is great. Let's say, for example, if someone is making a breakfast, I don't know, there was a trend of like a butter board. People took like soft butter, put it on a board and decorate it a little bit. It's applying to every person, from like someone who cooks, someone who doesn't cook, chefs, like any person. I'm creating content that is like relatively more sophisticated, and to people that will be like most likely more interested, like, you know, to convince someone to actually bake a bread, or to convince him to make a salad. There is a big difference. Like I'm relatively very niche, and so I changed my mind about trying to be relevant. I'm not trying to be relevant to everyone. I'm trying to be relevant to my community, to my audience, to my niche. So like if I compare it to music, for example, I'm not Beyonce. And I'm not aiming to be Beyonce. I know that not every American will be interested in my content. I'm a jazz artist, you know, that I hope that the jazz community will acknowledge.
No, absolutely. It's a great analogy, I think, on that. And, you know, something also that I wanted to ask you on that, it is that, you know, you are looking for a niche, right? But something that I also noticed that lately, and I think that you did the same some videos ago, you also collaborate with other food content creators, right?
Yes.
How does it work, and what are some of the benefits in collaborating and doing videos together?
There are many benefits for it. I see only benefits from it. As like content creator, and I mentioned it before, usually you're working by yourself. Okay, you have an editor, but like he's not here with the room with me, or you have a photographer, but like it's a very lonely job. So like meeting people from the industry, it's great. Like you're creating a community first. Second, I really develop and like learn from every person I collaborate with how I can get better. You know, not necessarily that I implement everything that I learn, but like, you know, I was like collaborating with an amazing colleague of mine last week, and he's using a microphone, like a separate microphone to his shooting every time. I bought this microphone. I didn't use it ever. I'm not interested, but I bought it. I was like, okay, that's one idea. One person is editing in a specific way. So I'm like getting notes from everyone. It's like really developing me as the creator. Third thing is it's working together. I'm not really competing with anyone. So like, you know, one, like the person who came here to collab with me last week, he launched a new merch. I bought from him the merch. When I will launch a product, he will buy the product. I'm promoting his product. He promote my product, and that's how it goes. You know what I mean? We are working together to benefit both sides. So it's great. And third thing, most important, the algorithm likes it, the collaboration, and it's doing a crossovers of audience and exposing me to other audience that I'm not necessarily approached until then. Yeah, and it's really amazing. Like, it's actually like providing me the option to like target specific audience that I was interested in, and they were not necessarily exposed to me. And the beauty thing is to like really see what is the shtick that will grab the other audience attention. Yes. So for example, I'm not doing anything with meat, but if I want to like bring some meat lovers towards my audience, I will do a kind of baked good that go well with meat with someone that is like established with meat. I will grab his audience attention towards me in a welcoming and approachable way for them. So that's the thing.
No, it makes sense, right? Especially when it comes to getting like, I mean, all the benefits that you just said, like, they do make sense, right? It is, I like when you say that it's a collaborative environment instead of looking at each other as competitors, because especially in the creator economy, right, that doesn't bring you anywhere, but instead working together, it does. And so also, so we covered content creation, we covered food, we covered collaborations. Something very important that many people, like, are interested in, it's money, right? Creators and money. So I wanted to ask you, how do you make money? First of all, can you do a little, breakdown? You already said before that you also have your book, you have a newsletter in addition to the social media. What is, what you can share with us, but would be interesting to see, how do you make money?
So obviously, let's start with like my social media presence. I'm getting paid for brand deals and paid partnerships with brands that want to approach my audience. Second of all, for my website and for my newsletter, through ads and through brand partnership as well. From the cookbook, as we said, my wife and I also run a catering business and providing cooking and baking classes. We have many revenue streams that working into like this one sole entity that is like the YASSS company. But at the end of the day, I love to to answer this by saying that social media is the medium for us to talk and engage other revenue streams that we have. So for example, we have a catering business. I'm posting about catering events that we're doing. From that, I'm getting other inquiries. I'm posting content. From that, I'm getting newsletter subscribers that I turn with ad revenue, like with ad revenue shares, like money from that. So it's a whole system that in the past year we developed to work all together simultaneously all the fucking time and helping each other.
So basically, social media for you, it's like both direct and also non-direct, right? Type of
exactly
for you.
Yes, I look at the beginning. Obviously, in the first year, the 100% of my revenue came from brand deals, but then I just realized I cannot rely on it sustainably. Like, money from brand deals is great. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. But at the same time, you find yourself sometimes, as long as I do have long partnership with a couple of brands, but other than that, you are waiting for a brand deal to come. And also you are working for free until someone is paying for this content to go paid. So I found it absolutely not sustainable for me, for my life, for my family. And I wanted to establish other ways that I can feel more safe, secured financially about all this we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really having different revenue streams, diversify, not putting all the eggs in one basket. Many content creators realized and understood how important it is. And let me also ask you this. What are some of the myths about creators and money? Is there anything that you either read in your comments, for example, or your friends think about the creator economy and money that instead is not true?
I would say that there is a kind of a picture of content creators being very rich from it, and and most likely it's absolutely not true. We are getting paid respectfully most of the time, but at the end of the day, I know very few that got rich from it. Like, let's talk like, I'm not talking about like people like over million and like, established brands out of social media, or like, millions of followers, subscribers on YouTube that obviously they're making good money from it. But like people on the range of like, let's say up to 1 million, they're working hard like anybody else in every other job. And like most people just see, like, as you said at the beginning, like 30 seconds video, and they're like thinking, okay, I produce 3 videos this week that together sum up to like, let's say 3 minutes, and I worked 3 minutes this week. No, for these 3 minutes, there is like a whole week of work of, as we said, planning, executing, like working on like future plans. And as I mentioned before, all this work is for free until there is a company that putting money on this content. So like people think that we are like loaded with money. We are working very hard for it. Very, very hard for it. I have to say that most content creators that I collaborated with, and I collaborated with over 40, they're all very, very hard worker and dedicated to the work. No one is taking it, I'm talking about like food. No one is taking it as like a easy ride of like, I'm shooting like an omelet and it's done. No, there is a lot into it. Yeah, so that's one of the myths, that it's an easy job and it's like you're loaded with money because you got followers. Followers are not always translated to $1.
No, yeah, thank you for sharing that, because we noticed the same in our creator economy report that we, like published recently. And we saw that the majority of the content creators out there still, make like, less than 50K a year, like, or some of them between 50 and 100. But again, it took years. Like we also asked them how many years have been doing these. And, many of them have been doing like for 5, 6, 7 years, So there is, again, it's very difficult to become that famous, especially rich overnight. It takes time. So thank you also for sharing that from your like, point of view as a content creator. And, after that, again, we talk about business mostly, but I'm really curious, what is the most difficult recipe you ever worked on?
Panettone. I have like easy come to my mind. Panettone. I did a couple of attempts, but like I didn't get it into like the right perfect texture that I wanted. I would say that panettone is the most difficult baked good I can think of in the world, period. I tried many from many other cultures, and I'm like happy to entertain any other idea of someone who thinks that there is something more difficult, but yeah, panettone is the most difficult.
Being from Milano myself, and I tried, artisanal, really good panettone, and I watched videos of people doing them. And I have friends that are working to bakeries, and they are like, owners of bakeries. And yes, it's very difficult. I can see that's why it's your answer, because it takes so much to master it. So that's for sure.
I love to look at it like, every time I'm talking with people about baking, it takes so long, but when it's actually like come out of the oven, to track what was like the exact moment that brought it not to be perfect is very hard. So think about it, panettone, it takes like over 3 days to make.
Yes.
You get it out of the oven, it's look great before it's getting in the oven, yes? When it's perfect and when it's not perfect, it look great before it's getting in the oven. And then you're taking it out and you slice into it and you're like, where did they go wrong? And very hard.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And so that was the hardest. Which one is do you have a recipe that you love the most? Either that you do only once, it was like where you were impressed, or something that you want to do more times, even in the future?
I have to say that I'm the most proud in the world about my pita recipe, my pita bread recipe. Especially living in America, usually you get this thin paper pita that you load with stuff and it just like break and everything is falling off. So I'm making an Israeli thick, good pita that absorbing like the joke in Israel. We say that like if your pita is good, you can pour soup into it and it will hold it. So my pita bread is.
Now I'm hungry and I want to try one of your pita. So next time I'm gonna, drop by. And now I told you I'm a foodie. I love cooking myself. So just the idea of that, I'm like, now I want to try it.
I should get you some pitas and spreads. Yes, of course.
Love it. Thank you for that. Is there anything else that you want to add on today's episode? Something that I didn't ask you, something that you're very excited that you're working on, something that you're excited about the industry?
I would love to give people a something to think about. When I started producing content, I genuinely didn't think that I will become a content creator. I didn't want and I didn't aim it. It wasn't never my goal. Never. I came to the States to get a work permit, work in bakeries, being confident enough and open my own bakery. Not relation to content creator.
Mm-hmm.
I looked on content as my diary where I can document what I'm doing. I'm personally interested in baking, so that was my outlet where I put my recipes and I could track afterwards. I was like, oh, I did this bread last time. What did I use? What are the measurements? How did it come out? It should come. I used it as like a track for me, like for all my process and my development professionally. And eventually people liked it and it's like all work together. But either if you are a singer, a songwriter, a contractor, a model, whatever, share about it. I mean, it's the easiest thing. Back in the day, like, you wanted to have a show, you needed to work so hard to compete with other candidates and to be the best one that like someone will pick into a TV show and there is one TV show in this section, this channel, this year. Dude, you can open your own channel today and have views today. And and it's like worst case scenario, you just documented your life on this aspect for a while and it doesn't go anywhere. So like, why not doing it? And last thing, I just been in Italy, in Piemonte. I gave a couple of lectures for the master program of communication in the universities I studied at. And we talked about social media marketing. And I said to everyone, no one will get hurt from having more followers and more attention on social media, no matter what business he will go to, no matter what business. We can see like, Erica the lawyer. She's a lawyer. And she's like talking about like stuff relating to her profession, became one of the most known, famous people in this like industry. And she's a lawyer. Like other lawyers will look at her and will be like, what the fuck are you doing? But now she can open a law firm and like beat every law firm, to like crazy. So like, and she can decide also not doing content anymore. But like still she got like so known and popular that like it's helped her business in any aspect. So just do it. Just do it, guys. That's it.
Love the message. I like that. And, we say this all the time. Every company is becoming a media company. Every person is becoming basically a content creator. So why not, right? So absolutely. I do.
Exactly.
I do agree. And it doesn't work. You have a really nice, really good memories in your on your social media that in 10 years you're going to go back and, you can just watch it as it was like, your story. So, right?
Exactly.
Why not?
Like, I mean, what can be bad about it, And that's what, sorry, just like last thing. That's why I'm connecting what we talked before about like making content easy for you to produce more. That's why I'm doing it for my phone. I'm anyway with my phone. I'm anyway taking pictures of my food. I'm anyway taking videos. Just putting them together and upload. It's nothing to do. When you are working with your camera, okay, oh, I forgot my camera at home. No content. No, you have your phone. You can produce it now. Do it.
Absolutely. Love it. BenGingi, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a very insightful and also fun conversation. Congratulations on your success and best of luck for everything else you're going to work on. This was the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory. I'll see you next week.